Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of Project Atticus Season 3. We're super excited about starting up this new season. We figured last episode was the perfect point to end Season 2 on because we had finally figured out how we're going to sustain our cruising lifestyle. And this episode marks the beginning of our Caribbean cruising adventure, which is what Season 3 is going to be all about.
So we hope you enjoy this episode as well as the rest of Season 3. So stick around and take care. Game day. 3 a.m. Just making some coffee for the big buddy, Captain Buddy. Boom. Morning.
Oh, morning.
Ready to move?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit of coffee and I'll be ready.
All right, are we all ready on deck, Buddy?
We're ready. Yeah, I'm just gonna raise the main and bring the anchor up, and we're actually gonna try and sail off of the anchor. But unfortunately, it's dark out, so we're probably not gonna be able to film anything. But we'll get back to you once we're underway. Okay, buddy. Can't barely see you, but how'd that go?
That went well. Yeah, first time. Was that the first time for us?
Yeah, first time leaving the anchor under sail.
Yeah. Quiet.
Yeah, it's nice, just drifting off into the night.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're underway. We're in the harbor, and you can see the lights of Isla Mujeres on our starboard side, and we'll be getting out of here real shortly. So say goodbye, buddy.
Bye, Isla.
Bye, friends. Oh, we are just cruising right now. We're making 4.7 knots, so just under 5 knots. We're hard on the wind. Probably like about 12 knots of wind, and we've got the Genoa up and the full main, and we're heeling over about 15 degrees or so. So Atticus is just loving this. Like we're booking it. We're making, well, you know, given that we're going against probably a knot of current, we're booking it, and it's just so like beautiful out here tonight. It's so nice. So there's Isla Mujeres right there. And we're heading pretty much straight for the hotel zone, and so we'll just head up closer to the hotel zone, tack over, and then do another tack, and we'll be on our merry little way. Check out the sweet view with the lights from the hardtop. Makes for some really awesome lighting for sunrise and sunset. I can just, like Atticus is just happy. I feel happy for Atticus because, you know, this is, I really get the feeling that like this is what she was built to do, and when she's not doing it, you know, it's just not good for her. Fingers crossed that this weather basically stays exactly the same for 2.5 days. I can hope. Okay, so we're coming up on the hotel zone here, and we're just barely gonna miss the point. We're not gonna make it around, so we're gonna tack over and then tack back and to round the point. I'm practicing at getting better at tacking without having to get Desiree up out of bed. So I'm gonna be using the wind vane and our new control line, which is right here, which I can adjust while sitting basically protected by the hardtop and right in front of the GPS. So I'm going to adjust this line and then switch the Genoa over, and then we'll be on the other tack. getting a little bit sporty out here. We're rounding the point of the hotel zone, and right there at the point, the seas get a little bit choppy. It's kind of a shoaly area, so they kind of rise up a little bit, and they kind of round the point. So all those things together makes rounding this point a little bit bumpy. Not to mention we've got to be hard on the wind to make it around the point. But you can see we've got the rail in the water. Yeah!
Get how people look attractive when they're sailing and in bikinis and everything. Like, I am just a wreck when I'm sailing. I'm like hot and sweaty, and like I cover up from the sun, so I look like a mummy. And I'm all frazzled. So I don't know, maybe one day. Hashtag bikini goals, we'll see.
So bud, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good now that I'm not on watch anymore.
Yeah?
Getting a little flustered there.
Yeah.
It's a long last 2 hours of watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this morning was really nice. I was like, man, I was wrong about sailing. It's really nice. And then things got crazy and I was like, oh yeah, I hate sailing. And then things calmed down again a little bit and I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. It was fine. I wasn't thinking I hate sailing. I was just thinking, wow, sailing is hard work.
That's gonna be the name of this episode.
Sailing is hard work.
Sailing is hard work.
Yeah.
We're just crawling along right now. Right now we're bounced between 2 knots and 4 knots. You can see here the depth, we're at 90 feet. So I've got to start kind of heading back in again a little bit. Just because we're pretty much trying to stay between 60 and 90 feet. Because once we get outside of 90 feet, in fact, once we get outside of 80 feet, we start seeing that, like 2.5, 3 knots. So it's really tough. The shoreline is closer than it appears. It's not that bad right here, but up ahead, as you can see on the GPS, we're gonna get up to a point here where, you know, to stay in 80 feet of water, you gotta be pretty darn close to the shore. So anyway, we gotta just be real careful and kind of just suck up to the fact that we're just gonna go slow for a little while.
I made a little snack I want to show you guys what I made. So the other day I just got some garbanzos ready in the refrigerator. Ooh, here. Right there. And then I also bought this like little cabbage pack that you can see there. So in here is just that little cabbage pack, garbanzos, tomatoes, onions, cucumber, can of chicken. And then I love making homemade dressings, so I just did peanut butter, sesame oil, ponzu sauce, rice vinegar, and a lime. And it's really, really delicious. So I'm gonna have a little treat and then pass out right there where I belong. All right, I'm on my second watch. Feeling refreshed. When Jordan came up, he kind of gave me the shakedown, the lowdown of the area, and accidentally jibed with the mizzenah and the wind vane, so that wasn't pretty, but now we're in for some smooth sailing. We're passing Playa del Carmen right now behind me, and it's funny because you can see it back there, I could actually hear the music from the shore, just like and there's a bunch of jet skis that came real close. I think they were just curious about a sailboat coming through. And then there's one parasailer up ahead, and then one like tourist fishing boat. So can't wait till we're past all civilization so we can just kind of relax a little bit more on watch.
It is, let's see, what time is it? 9 o'clock at night. First mate Bud made some nice spicy ramen. and it's delicious. It's really hitting the spot. So good job, First Mate Bud. Nice cooking there, Toots.
Thanks, Captain Bud.
Yeah, you're welcome. You got ready to go to sleep?
Yeah, I'm like fading so bad right now.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you gotta get in that bump. All right, well, we got another beautiful sunrise coming up. Yeah, so last night went pretty well. A lot of these small sort of like rain clouds kind of popped up all over the place. And a lot of them would kind of increase the wind a little bit as we were sailing along. So we actually sailed most of last night with 2 reefs in the main and just the working jib, and that's it. So we're still creeping along, fighting the current, but the current's a whole lot weaker than it was further north. We probably are only facing like a knot, I bet, now. So now we're able to be offshore. So we're like 5 miles off some of the points that we're passing here, which is good because the seas are a lot more stable out here. And we're just now passing Bahia de Ascension, where we were, 6 months ago. And so it's the furthest away from home we've ever been.
This is it. This is what? If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
Is it too early for that? I don't know. Seems funny to me. Wake up, bud. How'd you sleep?
Good.
Good?
Ready to switch?
Yeah, come on up, buddy. It's a beautiful morning.
Is it time to go back to bed yet?
No. Come on up, buddy. Please. So now that we're not hard on the wind, I'm using Desiree's strap that she made. So I'm sitting in the companionway. I'm able to look through the isinglass. I'm able to look below our sunshade behind me, and I'm out of all the spray. I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of spray on the isinglass. So I would be, before the hardtop, I would be soaking wet right now and just baking in the sun. And now here I am just kind of kicking back, watching the world go by. I just realized that from this position, seated here, I can look at the GPS and see what our course is. I can reach the control lines for the wind vane, so I can adjust our course. I can reach the main sheet and adjust it right here, and I can reach the jib sheet, and I can actually reach over and crank in on that winch. So like from seated right here, I can totally like adjust course and steer the ship. That is so freaking awesome. Like, I'm so stoked right now. And this one goes out to Rob S. with this whole new setup, the whole captain's chair on Atticus. The BDI of being on watch on Atticus has just gone way down. The ballerina difficulty index has probably gone from like a 7 to like a 3. If you guys don't know what the BDI is yet, go look it up on urbandictionary.com. Rock on, Rob S. Thanks, buddy. All this morning and like a lot of last night, it was just rough. Like we were just banging into the seas, you know, on a close haul, trying to get around this point. And not only were we trying to get around the point, but I wanted to get far enough around it so that we had 5 miles between us and the point, because I had been told that the seas get a little confused and kind of, you know, choppy there and can kind of build up. And I'm glad we did, because it was kind of confused and choppy out where we were, 5 miles off the point. I imagine closer to shore it's probably even worse. So anyway, so that's why we had to be close hauled for you know, a good, I don't know, 8-10 hours maybe. And it's just tough because you're going at 3 knots, you know, because if we were really carrying all the sail that we could, going hard into the wind like that with the seas that we have, I mean, we were really coming up off the crest and then banging down into the trough. And that's, you know, just tough on the rigging, tough on the equipment, tough on us, you know. And so I think a lot of the problem was that we've got this north setting current, and then when it hits that point, that north current like shoots out and meets up with some of the current that's already hitting us. So it's like a little bit of a funnel there. And so I think just the current is exceptionally strong off that point, and it just makes for really kind of just nasty looking waves, even though there's not that much wind. It's only like 16 knots of wind probably. But the waves had these weird, you know, white cap peaks to them, and like we would literally just kind of go off of a wave and just slam down. I mean, I was trying to sleep, and I would just feel that, like, that feeling in your stomach when you're free falling, you know? And it's hard to sleep when you feel that every 5 to 10 minutes, just like, whoa, and then boom, you know? And every time the boat, you just hear the boat just kind of like crash back into the water.
Got a storm cloud coming in, so we just doused the jib. We might put another reef in the main. Ooh, not looking pretty.
We got the jib down, and this squall looks really small. So time for a little freshwater rinse.
Holy shit! It's a lot scarier when you're outside of underneath there. Yeah.
Oh yeah! This is awesome. Well, spirits have definitely dropped a little bit on board the good ship Atticus. We're approaching Belize. In fact, I believe we are in Belizean waters now. Last night the wind picked up a lot. Desiree woke me up, we came up, and we were already under our double reefed main and our working jib, and which is, you know, pretty much the smallest sail configuration that we have for going to windward at all. And the wind picked up, and it looked like there was lightning up ahead of us, and so it looked like there might be like a big thunderstorm or something up ahead. And there was just a lot of like cirrus and altostratus clouds, so it just didn't look good, you know what I mean? Even though the forecast is still looking good. Anyway, so we got a little concerned, and especially because we were approaching another headland off of Belize, and on the course that we were on, we would have left about 5 miles of room between us and the headland. Well, I started getting a little concerned about that thunderstorm if it had really strong winds and kept being out of the southeast, that basically, you know, the best solution that we would have for reducing sail would be to get rid of the jib and sail under the double reef main, which would work really well, you know what I mean? That I'd be comfortable sailing that in all kinds of wind, but we wouldn't really be able to get to windward, and so we would slowly kind of get pushed closer to shore. So not good. And you know, that's what sucks about this trip, is you're on a lee shore and the current's going against you, so it takes you a long time to get where you're going. So anyway, so what I did was, for the first time, we got our storm jib out, and I'll show you in a second, but it's up on deck, and tried to hank it on, and it's just too small, you know. So the step from the 100% jib to the storm jib is a huge step, and there was no way that we were going to be able to work our way to windward unless the wind did pick up seriously. So we've got it on the foredeck ready, but so I was actually telling Desiree that you know, that was my bad. Like, my lesson that I've learned, my big lesson I learned is when looking at forecasts, if you've got a lee shore, just go in like real calm weather, you know. I was excited to actually get to sail Atticus, but this whole necessity to keep getting hard on the wind to get off away from the land, that's just, it sucks. It totally sucks. And so that's something I'm gonna avoid pretty strongly in the future. The other mistake that I made was when I was looking at the forecast, I already knew that we were gonna have to be a little bit on the wind for, you know, some of the trip, because the wind kept like kind of dropping down out of the southeast, and we're basically going due south. And so I knew that was gonna be a little bit of a problem, but I figured, oh, you know, it's only 15 knots, it's not a big deal. But, you know, but at times it goes up to 18, you know, gusting into the 20s, and that just happens to be when we have to, you know, crawl our way back out to sea. And so that's what we're doing now. And so that's a lesson learned for me, you know. I think that from now on, if I've got a trip where I know that I've potentially got to, you know, have the wind ahead of the beam, I think I'm gonna wait for, you know, weather calmer than 15 knots, especially if there's if I've got a lee shore. If it weren't for the lee shore, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, because we could just kind of go off course a little bit, and then when the wind shifts back, we could, you know, head back up. But with the lee shore, you don't have too many options. So, oh, and that's the other thing that is making this miserable. I don't know if Desiree's talked about it all, but I'll show you here in the cabin. So that is what Desiree and I have started terming the river of love. But don't be deceived, it sucks. So basically all that water is coming from the leak in the scuppers. So we've got these side deck scuppers, one over there and one on the other side, and so they both have a small leak that I've never gotten around to being able to fix. And when we're hard on the wind, water gets into the cabin, and the boat wasn't designed with a bilge here in the cabin. Below the sole here is an old water tank that we've got to pull out and restore. Anyway, so we've just got all this water here, and which just makes everything a little bit worse. The hull to deck joint forward is leaking, and I think one of the chain plates forward is leaking. So we've just got, everything is getting wet, and so we've got a lot of our stuff drying up there, you know, just hanging, so that when we put it back on after watch or at night or whatever, it's at least somewhat comfortable. But I mean, it's just, our whole world down here is just wet, and that just makes everything that much more miserable. I mean, it really takes the suck factor to the next level. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna stop bitching.
Without my love for the ocean, I would be long gone by now. It's some kind of devotion that brings me
just woke up from a long nap. feels so weird to have the boat be kind of flattened out for the first time and not bouncing around. Yeah, we just went downwind to go through the channel, the English Channel. And man, I like can't even believe it. That was such a long, crazy passage so far. Glad to break it up and get some sleep, cook some real food, and just like put together the boat a little bit. Anyway, land ho! Land ho, buddy! I can't even believe the boat's like calm and not bouncing around. I haven't felt this relieved in so freaking long. I haven't been filming recently just because I like reached my limit, you know? I was just seasick and in pain, super exhausted, had like 3 consecutive watches that were just, they just kicked my butt, you know? The moment I just like kind of reached my low point was I was up at night and I just this like huge wave just got me. I was just soaked and it like almost felt like being bitch slapped, you know, just like out of nowhere. So I was just soaking wet. I looked down at my hands and they were just like all pruny, and I was just like, I strongly dislike passage making, like maybe this isn't for me. So finally Jordan woke up and so we talked about the passage and you know he said that was a really exceptionally bad passage and you know not all of them are going to be like this. And so yeah, I guess because it's so new I kept thinking like, how the freak do people do this? You know, like every time you want to go to a country, you just have to torture yourself and like put yourself to your limit. No thanks. I'll just backpack. But I think we learned a lot about what not to do with weather routing and also with like very, very small comfort items down below. Just like getting rid of that river is going to be so nice because every time we went from being on duty down to, you know, getting a minute to ourselves, it's nasty. You're like wading through this like dark, murky river. And your feet are all gross, and then it takes like 20 minutes to hang everything up, and then, like I said, everything smells down below. Almost 3 full days of just like being beaten, you know? Just being reminded that nothing comes easily. So, gosh, I like hope that explains a little bit more how excited I am to finally reach land. Or not even land, to see land, to be in protected waters, to be able to cook something without getting super seasick, and to get more than 2.5 hours of sleep at once. It's gonna be glorious. God, I can't wait. I already feel great, actually. I feel so relieved.
You have my love for the ocean. I would be long gone by now. I guess my love is for the ocean, not for you.
Hey, like that hardtop there, bud.
This hardtop was like the only good thing about that trip. Like, I'm exhausted. I'm like sleep deprived, you know, I'm like physically tired. But like, I'm so happy right now. Like, this is so beautiful. It's like, you know, it's real calm water, plenty of wind. And we're moving at 6.5 knots with a double reef main and a working jib. You know, protected waters. We're sailing by all these beautiful islands. We're gonna sail up and drop the hook at a small little island here in a minute that I bet you no one will be at. So it's interesting, like I've said it before and I'm sure we'll say it again a lot of times, but like cruising cruising doesn't like make your life better. It just makes your highs higher and your lows lower. And I'm experiencing that today. Like in the last 24 hours, I've been lower than I've been in a long time, and right now I'm higher than I've been in a long time. So, you know, is it worth it? Probably, but it's not always easy. Buds now love each other.
Buds are in love again.
That's right. Now that we're out of the suck.
That was bad.
That was bad. Good job, buddy.
You too.
For the ocean, I would be long gone by now. I guess my love is for the ocean, not for you. No, not for you.
Oh. Well, bud, what do you think? You want to keep sailing with me?
Yeah, I guess so.
Haven't you enjoyed some of our passages?
Yeah, I guess I just forget. That's just the way my brain works. But yeah, no,
Yeah, being married to you is like being married to that girl from 50 First Dates. I need to get a video. He's like, you enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You're happy with me.
You chose this.
You actually like doing what you're doing.
Can you make me that, please?
Yeah, I probably should. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Also, something that's really exciting that's happening this week is we are this close to reaching our 500 challenge on Patreon. If you're not familiar with the 500 challenge, you can hop over to our Patreon page and watch the video that we have there. But basically, once we reach that goal, that means that we will be full-time video storytellers.
So if you've been considering becoming a patron, this is a perfect time to help us reach our goal, and we hope to see you again next week.